Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Rogue Valley in Medford, Oregon. We're so glad you're with us today, wherever you are. Doing services on live stream gives us an opportunity to be connected to our friends all over. And so wherever you are, thank you for joining us today. We're thrilled to have this service today with an incredible team of sound and visual technicians and support staff surrounding me out here that you can't see. Thank you for doing an incredible job. Our musicians today are Richard Williams on keyboards and guitar, and our own Alexa Ehrlich is our vocalist. I'm always glad when you're the musician when I'm here. Our beloved Reverend Kimberly is on vacation, and so I am not Reverend Kimberly. I am Dr. Linda Reppond, and I will be your host and speaker today. I also want to welcome Nancy Clay, who is our practitioner today, and just invite you to relax, listen in, and really open your heart to the message that's available to you today.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one with the Spirit all around me. I'm grateful, so thankful. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one with the Spirit all around me. I'm grateful, so thankful. I trust in God. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender to the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God. I trust in God.
At the deepest essence of my soul and consciousness, I recognize that there is only one life, one God, one power, one infinite intelligence that moves in and through everything. I know this divine spirit is giving every expression of the one its very existence. At the very core of my being, I recognize that everything I see, everything I experience, everything that may appear to be separate and apart from me is in fact a part of this oneness. Everything is connected in a beautiful and divine dance of the one. With this awareness deeply anchored in me, I sense the glorious beauty that abounds in this world through the vast multiplicity of the expressions of the one. Every rock, every planet, every animal, every person brings divine perfection forward to play and create. I know that at the human level, this wealth of individual expression is brought out in so many varied ways, and I find room in my heart for every one of them. As I look out at all the spiritual beings around me, exhibiting the vast diversity of human experience, I see one perfect family. Be it differences of culture, race, belief, religion, country, sexual orientation, or any other of the many ways we humans express our creative uniqueness, I am continually aware of our oneness and the gifts of our differences. Spirit's experience of itself and my experience of this universe is served by this great variety. I know our human family is growing and evolving spiritually. I know this evolution is bringing forth, individually and collectively, a greater celebration of our perceived differences. I know this growth begins in our consciousness and cascades through our words and deeds out into the material world. There, we are creating an inclusive planet where every person everywhere is treated with dignity, having access to the resources needed to fulfill their basic needs, and the opportunity to thrive by being their true selves, expressing their divine gifts and talents. I am thankful that together we are truly creating a world that works for everyone. And so it is.
I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me who I am wisdom, I am light, I am more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. And if you ask me what I am beauty, I am joy, I am more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light that brightens someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye, I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought I have the power to change my life. Ooh.
Thank you, Alexa and Richard. That was fabulous. Wow. So this whole summer, we have spent looking into the issues related to racial justice, our own privilege, our own biases, and looking a little deeper. Because it sort of starts with, well, I'm not really racist. Am I? No, I'm not. But then what we're encouraging each other to do, and all of us have been part of this journey this summer, is to just keep peeling back the onion, keep looking a little bit deeper, because there's so much that is deeply ingrained in us that isn't even at the surface. So by the time it comes to the surface, it's time to change it. So this week, our topic is colorblind or colorful. Maybe you've heard this phrase before, maybe you've even used it before. Like, I don't see color. You know, everybody's just a human being to me. You heard that before? I think there was a long time in my life that I thought that was the goal. I thought that what we were trying to do was not see color. And I failed at it every time, by the way, because even though I could say the words, in reality, I noticed the differences between me and whoever it was I was trying to not see color with. So first of all, I failed at it. But it's been a process of awakening for me to realize just how wrong I was about that. Because even though it sounded like a great goal, like we're all one and I see everybody equal, it's not actually the reality, nor is it kind or generous to pretend that we don't have differences between us. Now, in Science of Mind, our most core principle is oneness. We teach oneness in many different ways in the Science of Mind teaching. And essentially, it is that we are all expressions of the one life that is God, or whatever you want to call it. I call it God. That there is one life, and that we are all individualized expressions of that. So we are like pieces of God, which speaks to a core wholeness in that who we are, we were not born flawed or doomed. We're born whole, innocent, complete expressions of the one. And so as such, we are deeply rooted in our oneness with each other, because we come from that one source of being a piece of the infinite. Every single person, every single sentient being is in fact an expression of that oneness. So that's a core principle of who we are. There's a couple more things that from Science of Mind principle I just want to refer to because I'm going to talk about them later. One is one of my very favorite lines from Ernest Holmes, which is, principle is not bound by precedent. We had a whole talk about that a few weeks ago. Principle is not bound by precedent. So what that means is that the principle of wholeness isn't bound by our history, our story, our upbringing, our family, our anything else. Our wholeness is possible in any moment that we want to drop that story and step into the principle of our own wholeness. That is, to me, one of my favorite things about this teaching. It's actually across the bottom of my computer monitor, so I see it all the time. Principle is not bound by precedent. Another thing that Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of Science of Mind, talked about, now this is back in the 1920s and 30s, he talked about a concept called race mind, which was not about racial issues, although it seems very timely today to be talking about race mind because it relates to the issues we've been talking about all summer about race. When Ernest Holmes was talking about it, what he was talking about was that we as a human race have inherited the consciousness of the world around us and those who have gone before us. It actually gets passed down in our DNA. In what our family story is something that we incorporate automatically. In the story of our culture, we incorporate that automatically. And so when he says race mind, he means the human race, that there is a story out there in what we call the thoughtmosphere that is, that we just pick up. We pick it up as children, we accept it, we move forward with it as though it were true, and it's not necessarily true. So I like that it's called race mind in the context of what we're talking about today, because our pictures and stories about race, about others, whatever the other is, and in this case I'm going to talk about race a lot, but it may be physical disability, it may be gender, it may be gender preference, it may be sexual identity, it could be a lot of things, but the story that we have about other, you know, there's us and there's them, and the thems are the ones we have lots of stories about, and those stories are stories that are largely unexamined until we choose to examine them. So that's really what I want to invite you to do today, is choose to examine the story behind the story. So the story of oneness is, I think, how I got to the idea that colorblindness was a good idea, because I was equating oneness with sameness. Not the same, by a long shot. In fact, I think that it's a form of spiritual bypass to talk about oneness as being sameness, because it assumes that your life experience is like my life experience, and it's not. None of us have the same life experience. And if you, like me, grew up in the world of majority, like white, privileged, then it's easy to believe that my story is the story, that like you, regardless of your ethnicity or background or geography, you have the same story I do. Not so. It's every person's life story has a different nuance to it. And mine, I believe, is layered with many, many layers of privilege. Things that I did not experience because I was white, because I was educated, because I came from an upper middle class family, or middle class. We called ourselves upper middle class. I don't think we really were. Anyway, I had privilege. And all of us, regardless, have some level of privilege that if we don't own it, we kind of think it's just the way things are, and everybody's got that, right? But if you start looking into the factors that define us in our society, in almost every area, the differences between the white population and the brown or black population are remarkable, whether you're talking about education, career opportunities, home ownership, income, whatever those areas are, the factors show that there's not a sameness there, which would say that there's not really an equal privilege there in any of those cases. But you know, it's our differences, actually, that are the thing that I believe we're here to celebrate. It is not sameness that is the goal. It is celebrating the uniqueness of each of us. What is our contribution to the entire story? And they're different. It is actually the differences in my life, the challenges in my life, the places where my life did not go according to the script that I thought was mine, that defined who I am. The places where life got really hard, or where I actually got my heart cracked open, or my head changed in a way that gave me the opportunity to see and know people in a different way, to see and know myself in a different way, and to choose from a place of consciousness, for conscious awareness, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. Those are the things that define us. So when I say I don't see color, what I'm really doing is negating your life experience if you're a person of color. I'm negating your life experience and saying that it's like mine, when it may not be at all like mine. And in fact, the challenges and opportunities that have defined you and brought your wisdom to the planet are different than mine. And I want to live in a world where I can celebrate that, where I can learn from other people's life experience, even though it's different from mine, or especially because it's different from mine. That's what I want. I want to live in a world where it's possible to see each person completely, to just keep opening the door a little wider and a little wider and a little wider to see who somebody actually is. Hear from their life experience, hear the wisdom that has been gained from their life experience, and allow that to inform me. So that when we are connected to each other and we're experiencing our oneness, we're experiencing a richness to that. That's not you're like me, yay. It's like you're not like me, yay. That's really what I think we're going for. It's like, what is the life experience that brought you to where you are today? I want to know that. I want to understand that. I want to be enriched by that. So I have been a gardener all my life. My dad was a gardener. I grew up with it. My daughter is a gardener. And right now my daughter is living with us. And so we are sharing a garden. That's a little bit of a challenge. But it sort of breaks down to she's the vegetable person and I'm the flower person. And, you know, we have 7 raised beds. We have enough vegetables to feed most of Southern Oregon. And we have almost that many flowers. So it's the thing that Megan said to me a few days ago that kind of caught my attention because I'm thinking about this theme for today. Is she goes, you know, the vegetables are better because of the flowers. That's a big admission from her. The vegetables are better because of the flowers have attracted all of the pollinators, all of the bees, all the butterflies, all of the pollinators that are actually increasing the yield of the vegetables. It is the diversity in the garden that makes it what it is. Now, because flowers are kind of my thing, I have always worked towards a palette in the garden. What I want is continuous blooming, and I want things that bloom and fade, and the next one that comes up to go well in color with the thing that's next to it. And it takes some work over years of time to just get the when things bloom and what colors they are, and oh, this needs to get moved over here, and this needs to get moved. Oh, this is actually, you know, something that blooms in late summer, not early summer. And it's a constant process, and I love that. But the thing that I know about raising flowers and having a gorgeous palette is that it's the differences, it's the contrast that makes it beautiful. So what I'm looking for is always color, texture, size. So big leaves, pointy leaves, you know, round flowers, spiky flowers, you know, different colors. That's what makes contrast, and that's what makes the garden beautiful. I think the same is true of people. In a world where there's no contrast, sameness is boring. Sameness is kind of death. It is not vibrant and alive and growing. It's monotone. Who wants to live like that, in monotone? My dad was colorblind his whole life. And they used to say he was blind in one eye and colorblind in the other, which was kind of true. And as a little girl, that disturbed me so much. I was forever wanting to point out to him, like, this flower is red, this is yellow. And I didn't at the time understand, but it was all kind of grayscale to him. The whole world was kind of grayscale. I don't like that. I don't want to live in a world of grayscale. I want to live in a world where we are celebrating each of us as the complete, magnificent human being that we are, for all of our differences, for all of our uniqueness. And when that message is given to children, who you are is perfect. You are a unique expression of God, just exactly the way you are. I could have used hearing that as a child, because I was forever trying to fit into somebody's definition of what I was supposed to be, and failing sometimes. So I was trying hard often to be who I'm not, because that was what I thought was expected of me, or it's what was actually expected of me. I want to live in a world where children are allowed to figure out who they actually are and be that. When you see a child that has been raised that way, you know you are looking at a full spectrum human being. You know what I'm talking about? You know, you're looking at somebody who really is available to the world, and the world is available to them. Now, most of us didn't get raised that way. Most of us didn't start in a world where we were given positive regard or affirmation for being who we are, when who we are was different than the norm. Places where who I am was the same as the norm, like I'm smart, I did well in school. Yay, let's have more of that. But I'm bad at math, which my mother was a mathematician, and that drove her crazy. So she was forever like trying to make me do this thing that wasn't my natural thing. I think that's true for most of us. And that what we want to do now is operate from a place of choice. I am the thinker that thinks the thought, what Alexa was singing earlier. We have the capacity to think a different thought. Principle is not bound by precedent. What has been, the story that we've had about our lives, does not have to define who we are today or who we are tomorrow. We can make a different choice. The beauty is in the contrast. So whatever my stories have been in relation to race, when I see a person of color, and I have like an automatic response that goes back to that old ancient DNA story about you're different, you're to be feared, you are less than, you are whatever that story might be. And we've all been around long enough to bury those stories and pretend they're not our stories. So we have a different, thing we would say to the world. But I'm talking about at the deepest core level, when you have a reaction that is not where you want to be in the world. Guess what? You have a choice. We can choose today a different story. We can choose a different story tomorrow. And really, the old stories that we are born with, that we were raised with, kind of have become our default. It's like the pathway and the neural pathway in our brain is a deep channel. And our thoughts automatically go down that old path. And when you make a choice to do a new path, to tell a new story, to open to a new possibility, it's not a deep rut. It's a one-time path. So you have to keep returning to that path, making a fresh new choice every single day, every single time. Wait, no, that's not my story. This is my new story. I'm choosing this now. And over time, that becomes the new default. We can tell a new story. We can claim a new story. Principle is not bound by precedent. The life that I want to live is a life of choice, is a life that is deeply examined. So every time I come up against an old story, an old belief, it doesn't mean it's automatically bad because it's old, but I want to look at it, I want to examine it, I want to choose, is this my story now? And if it's not, I want to choose a new story. So I invite you to this practice. It's, as they say, simple, not easy, because it's simply a matter of making a new, fresh choice every time I have a new, fresh choice to make. I'm choosing this now. Not necessarily easy, because the old default is easy. It's easy to go down the old path. Change in this country is happening at a mind-blowing pace at this moment. And I personally believe that we cannot change the narrative of our entire culture until we heal this ancient story about race. It has been with us since the beginning of this country. It has continued, it continues today, and it is so deeply ingrained in our DNA as a society that it's not going to change automatically. Time isn't going to change it. Time would have changed it in the last 400 years if time was going to heal it. What it takes is all of us being willing to look deeper, to excise a deep, old story that we've told and has been told to us, and claim a new story. The new story that I claim is contrast, diversity, is what I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate every human being for exactly who they are, for their life experiences, for the differences that have made them who they are. If you think about all of the places where we use diversity in our life, the things that have come to us from other cultures are what makes our life rich now. Yoga came from another culture. Music, gospel music, reggae music, many different forms of music came from cultures that, in my case, were not my own. Foods, all the best foods, tacos, tikka masala, sushi, all those great foods came from another culture. Those didn't come from sameness. Those came from celebrating diversity. I want that in life, not just in food, not just in choices about lifestyle. I want it in everyday life, an opportunity to find and celebrate each of us for who we are. Let's pray. Once again, recognizing that infinite presence, that wholeness, that love, that life itself is God. There's nothing that is not God, all around, in, around, through, and as each of us. That wholeness is life itself, and it is God, and it is perfect. And so I awaken to that wholeness in myself. I invite each person in this thoughtmosphere to open to that reality of wholeness It is in our very cells. It is who and what we're made of, nothing less. So from that place of wholeness, I awaken to my choice to tell a new story, to release an old story, however deep and old and deeply held that story is. If it is not serving this broader vision of humanity, I let it go. I release it. I say, you're no longer mine. I am choosing. I am the thinker that thinks the thought. I am the chooser, and I am choosing to celebrate diversity, to see the whole palette of contrast as absolutely beautiful, as absolutely whole, and as my reality now. I give thanks that that opportunity for choice is available today. I give thanks for every person choosing to live from a conscious place of wholeness. I choose color. I choose to see the whole palette and to celebrate it. I give thanks for the richness that brought us together, that carries us forward. And I send a blessing of grace on our community and on our country as we open to this as a new truth, as a new reality. Let it be so. And so it is. Amen.
What would I do if I knew that I could not fail? If I believed with the wind always fill up my sail? How far could I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you do if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where true believers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, would the voice of courage whisper in my ear? If I were brave, I'd watch the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step will I take today if I am brave?
Wow, thank you. Alexa Ehrlich and Richard Williams, thank you. Thank you. So if we were live in person back in the day when we did that, this would be the time in our service when we would be taking our offering. And I just want to say thank you, because both our local congregation and our expanded congregation through this time, you have been so generous in keeping us solvent, and we're doing fine. And I'm so grateful for your financial support. So now is the time you can do that. You can go, there's a number of ways you can give. You can go to our website, www.cslroguevalley.org. And there's a prominent button there called Donate. That's where you want to click. There's other ways. I'm learning how you do this. You can mail a check, and the address is there on that website as well. I think it's on your live stream now. You can also download an app that's called Give Plus, and you can put that on your smartphone and enter the name of our center, CSL Rogue Valley, and just click it and give anytime, day or night. How about that? So thank you for your tithes, for your offerings, for your willingness to continue to support us. It is important in this time, as we're not physically present, that we continue to support our minister and our ministries. So we appreciate you. I have a couple of announcements I want to add in today. Next Sunday, are you ready? We are live in person. For the second time this summer, we will be at Bear Creek Park. It'll be an hour early, so for those of you, whether you're joining us live at the park or online, it's at 9:30, not 10:30 Pacific time next week. Bear Creek Park has a huge amphitheater, so there's plenty of room for physical distancing and safety. We invite you to bring a lawn chair or a blanket to sit on. Wear a mask. There'll be sanitizers there. You'll be asked to sign in so that we will actually know how to find everybody. And the service will be led by Reverend Kimberly, who will be back from vacation, Reverend Michelle Ariano, and myself. So the three of us are going to be doing it together. So come join us live in the park if you're from Southern Oregon, and we'll still be on online. So wherever you're joining us today, that link will be live just an hour earlier next week. A couple of things coming up that I want you to know about is every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we have an online spiritual practice at 9 o'clock in the morning. You can get it from our newsletter or from our website, how to connect to that. But it's just a half hour of meditation and connection and sharing. And it's open to anybody, anywhere. So we invite you to join us for that. This fall, we have a couple of classes. Reverend Michelle Ariano will be teaching the Foundations of Science of Mind starting 9/16 on the 16th of September, which I believe is a Wednesday. So that class is available. You can sign up. There's a description of it on our website. And then Alan Aykroyd is going to be teaching a class starting on Thursday the 17th that's called Seth, Quantum Physics and Ultimate Reality. Sounds pretty mind-expanding, so I invite you to just explore taking a class. They're all on Zoom, so they're available to you, at home. You can take classes in your jammies, and I'm loving that part of life these days. So invite you to do that. That's all the announcements that I have at this time. I just want to say thank you for joining us today. We're glad to have you. We invite you to be part of our virtual congregation. And next Sunday, come be part of our live congregation. Thank you for joining us today.
I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright, and I shine, and I are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright.
And just giving thanks for the light that we are, the light that surrounds us. I give thanks for each person, the blessing that we are, and know that as we walk forward this week in the world, we are a light. We are bringing light wherever we go, embracing the light that meets us coming from the other direction. It is all good. It's all God. I am so grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.